Easter Sunday, my mom handed my sister the keys to a brand new $75,000 SUV. The crowd clapped. Cameras flashed. Champagne bottles popped. Then she turned to me, grinning, and held out an envelope. It was thin, light, labeled, The Outsider. Inside was a single sheet of printer paper, blank, except for one line. You'll understand someday. I didn't cry. I didn't flinch. I just looked up at her as she tilted her head and said, "So, how does it feel to always be the backup?" I took a breath, and I smiled. "Let's see how you manage without the $7,000 I send every month." Her face changed. Sister's laugh caught in her throat. Dad blinked, confused. I dropped the envelope, turned, and walked out of the celebration. No drama, no scene. Just silence loud enough to rattle every glass in that luxury kitchen. My name is Tessa Marlowe. I'm 33. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. What happens when the family you kept afloat tries to drown you, and you learn to swim alone? Because sometimes the most dangerous person at the table isn't the one screaming. It's the one quietly rewriting the menu. And I had just deleted my mother from the budget. That night, I turned off my phone. Not out of pettiness, out of peace. Because for the first time in years, I didn't owe them anything, no explanations, no deposits, no rescues. Monday morning, I skipped my usual bank transfer. The $7,000 that usually paid off mom's mortgage, sister's credit cards, and dad's silent medical bills stayed in my account. And I sat in a quiet coffee shop, tasting the luxury of saying no. By Tuesday, the messages started. Missed calls. Group chat pings. Even Ezra, my sister's golden retriever of a fiancé, texted, "Hey, your mom's been asking for you." She said it's serious. I didn't reply. By Wednesday, things escalated. An urgent email from my sister titled, "Emergency. Call now." Inside, just one sentence. "You can't seriously be doing this." "No, please." "No, we're sorry." Just panic disguised as pride. I deleted it. Then Thursday came. At 12:47 a.m., a knock rattled my apartment door. I froze. Another knock. Louder. Then a voice. "Tessa, it's me." "Mom." Her voice was thin, shaky, the kind you fake when you need something. We need to talk about the house." I didn't move. Not yet. Because the woman who once gifted my sister a luxury SUV while handing me an insult was now standing on my welcome mat. But this wasn't a confrontation. Not yet. This was the sound of entitlement collapsing under its own weight. And I was going to watch it fall, one brick at a time. I didn't open the door that night. I just watched her through the peephole, pacing, rubbing her hands, muttering to herself like a woman rehearsing a sales pitch. Eventually, she left. But the next morning, I got a voicemail. "Tessa, it's your father. Can you please call me back? There's something going on with the bank. It's urgent." I almost laughed. Dad hadn't called me directly in 2 years. Not when I bought my apartment, not when I landed that consulting contract, not even when I was in the hospital with pneumonia. Now, suddenly, my silence had value. I checked the shared account I used to auto-transfer funds. It was overdraft. Mom had clearly kept spending like nothing changed. There were charges for spa days, for Ezra's tuxedo rental, for a wedding planning retreat in Aspen. They'd used the money I earned working 80-hour weeks like Monopoly cash. Then I found something else. A digital copy of the trust fund statement for my late grandfather's inheritance, a $150,000 amount that was supposed to be split between me and my sister. It had been drained. Every cent rerouted to cover household expenses. Signed off by my mother, using power of attorney. The betrayal wasn't just emotional anymore. It was legal. It was financial. It was criminal. And yet, all they wanted was for me to keep paying like nothing happened. This wasn't about a car or a party or a stupid envelope anymore. This was about a family that saw me as a wallet with legs. And now that the wallet walked away, they were scrambling to find the zipper. But I wasn't done. Not even close. I booked a meeting with a financial advisor the next day, one of those no-nonsense women who wear sharp glasses and sharper heels. I laid out every document, the overdraft statements, the inheritance records, even screenshots of the trust withdrawals. She didn't blink. You've been financially exploited. Reclaim what's yours, legally and clean. She helped me freeze the remaining joint accounts, revoked my mother's power of attorney, and filed a formal fraud alert with the credit bureaus. I wasn't playing victim. I was preparing a case. Later that week, I mailed 3 letters. One to my parents, one to my sister, and one to their mortgage lender. Each letter included a notarized statement that I was no longer financially liable for any of their debts. By Friday morning, chaos had bloomed. My sister called 5 times, then sent a text. You're seriously ruining everything over some stupid car? Mom emailed. This isn't how family works. But the final blow came from Ezra. He left me a voicemail, his voice tight with anger and disbelief. Do you have any idea what you've done? Your mom's house might be repossessed. And that's when I realized something. They never feared losing me. They only feared losing access to me, to my money, to my silence, to my obedience. But I was done funding my own erasure. They wanted me invisible and useful. Now I was visible and unavailable. And the woman they called the backup? She was finally becoming the main character. The next time they saw me, it wasn't at a dinner table. It was at a public charity gala one I was sponsoring. I donated $50,000 in my daughter's name. Set up scholarships for girls from struggling households. On the invitation list? Not a single family member. But Mom showed up anyway. She wore a smile like armor, acting like she belonged, hugging people who didn't recognize her. Then she saw me on stage, holding the mic as I dedicated the fund to the women who were overlooked, underestimated, and quietly erased. This is your reminder. You're not invisible. You're indispensable. Applause thundered. My mother's smile cracked. Afterward, she cornered me in the hall, her voice low, urgent. You're embarrassing us. Ezra's wedding is next month. Just come. Just be normal. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, I hope he enjoys his gift. I used the money you stole from my inheritance and turned it into something unforgettable. Her jaw dropped. She hadn't even realized I knew. Behind her, a reporter from the local newspaper waited to interview me about the scholarship fund. Excuse me, I said to my mom. Some people actually value what I have to say. That night, they tried to smear me online. Subtle digs, passive-aggressive comments, accusations of being dramatic, unstable, selfish. But I had screenshots, receipts, legal records, and more than that, I had peace. The same girl who was once labeled the outsider was now untouchable, not by revenge, but by evolution. The storm didn't end with whispers. It ended with paperwork. I walked into a downtown law office the following Tuesday, holding a thick manila folder. Inside, a full audit of the inheritance my grandmother left me. The one my mother had claimed was tied up in taxes. Turns out it had been liquidated 8 years ago. By her. She used it to buy that $75,000 SUV. To fund Ezra's college tuition. To renovate the lake house, she claimed came from savings. There was even a forged signature on a withdrawal slip. I handed the folder to a lawyer named Camille, a pit bull in pearls, and watched her eyes darken as she flipped page by page. We have a case, she said. A strong one. And that's when I made the final decision. I wasn't just walking away, I was pressing charges. For fraud. For identity misuse. For breach of fiduciary duty. The next morning, my family's group chat exploded. Ezra, how could you do this to your own mom? Mom, I only did what was fair. Aunt Lila, you always loved drama. This is too far. Me, tell it to the judge. Then silence. Until noon. A text from Mom. Let's talk. Privately. Please. But I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a single photo online. A screenshot of the court filing, blacked out names, just the heading visible. Caption. Some things aren't family matters. They're felony matters. By sundown, Ezra had deleted his LinkedIn. Mom locked down her Facebook. And I got a DM from a girl I hadn't spoken to since high school. You were always the quiet one. I'm so proud of you. It was Easter Sunday again, a full year since the SUV incident. I got a card in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo of my mom, Ezra, and my aunt holding up signs that said, "Family forgives. Let's heal. Come home." Taped to the bottom was a check for $7,000. The exact monthly amount I'd stopped sending. Guilt, gift-wrapped. But here's the thing, I wasn't the same girl who used to beg for belonging. I was the woman who built a life on her own terms, and had the scars to prove it. So, I didn't cash the check. I framed it. Later that evening, they pulled one last card. A surprise family intervention. They showed up at my apartment unannounced. Mom crying. Ezra pacing. Aunt Lila holding a folder. We drew up a contract. Aunt Lila said, "We'll pay back some of the money. Let's just fix this." I asked, "Why now?" Ezra looked at the floor. "Because I'm running for a local council seat, and your lawsuit makes things messy." There it was. Not remorse. Just reputation management. I stood silent for a full 10 seconds. Then I turned, pulled a file from my desk drawer, and handed it to them. It was a withdrawal letter. From the family trust. From the group chat. From the legal mediation. From every agreement tying me to them. You want forgiveness? Start with the mirror. I opened the door. And if you ever want to speak to me again, try showing up for something that isn't about money. They left in silence. But for the first time, I didn't cry when the door shut. I smiled. I didn't post a clapback. I didn't blast them online. I didn't even cancel the check, though I could have. Instead, I built something better. That spring, I used the $7,000 they mailed to start a microgrant fund, one that helped women escape toxic family dynamics and start over. First month, 2 applicants. By summer, over 60. Each story reminded me, I wasn't alone. I wasn't crazy. And I wasn't bitter. I was awake. I changed my last name. I changed my locks. I changed my definition of family. On the anniversary of the SUV betrayal, I hosted a quiet dinner at a local community center. No streamers. No drama. Just 13 women who'd been left out, let down, or locked out, now rebuilding. We toasted with lemonade. Someone played Nina Simone in the background. And when they asked how I pulled through, I said, I stopped waiting for my family to love me right and started loving myself loudly. The next morning, I received one final message. It was a handwritten letter from my mom. You were always the smart one, the strong one. I just didn't want to see it. I know we've lost you, but I hope you never feel lost again. I folded the letter gently. Not to forgive, not to forget, just to file it under closure. Then I lit a candle, opened the windows, and breathed. Deep, slow, free. They used to call me dramatic. Now, they just call me gone. I didn't burn bridges. I built boundaries. And on the other side of them, I found peace, purpose, and a version of myself that no one could silence again.